Commander Ryan stood at the edge of the jagged cliff, staring at the glowing caves below. The planet Caloris stretched endlessly before him, its red-hued sky casting shadows on the rocky surface. The human expedition team had landed only a week ago, yet already the planet felt alive, almost aware of their presence. Strange energy readings had led them to this isolated valley, but nothing in their instruments had prepared them for what they were about to see. "Commander, look at this," Myra called, her voice filled with awe. She was the team's lead scientist, always searching for explanations in patterns and numbers. She pointed toward a cliff face where golden light shimmered faintly beneath layers of rock. The metal surface reflected the sunlight, but it seemed to glow from within. "It's not like anything we have ever seen." Ryan approached cautiously, his boots crunching on the coarse gravel. The golden surface of the cliff was smooth and perfectly even, as if it had been polished by hands far older than human history. Symbols were etched into the metal, forming patterns that neither Myra nor any member of the team could immediately recognize. They were not letters, not numbers, not anything they could translate with existing knowledge. The team gathered around, eyes wide with wonder. Some of the newer recruits whispered nervously. Lieutenant Aaron, one of the younger members, shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, should we even touch it? Our sensors are showing unstable energy. This place feels dangerous." Ryan's jaw tightened. He had seen enough planets, enough strange anomalies, to know that danger was part of exploration. But danger was not a reason to turn back. "Curiosity is what brought humanity this far," he said firmly. "We will examine it carefully. No rash moves. But we will not ignore this." Myra extended a gloved hand and gently brushed the edge of the golden surface. The metal was warm to the touch, as if alive. A soft hum began in the air, vibrating through the team's suits. Symbols on the doorway glowed faintly in response, pulsing like a heartbeat. The hum grew louder, resonating through the valley, but the team did not step back. Instead, they leaned closer, mesmerized by the strange energy. The AI aboard their ship, a calm but precise voice, interrupted the silence. "Commander Ryan, energy readings are exceeding safe parameters. Recommend retreat. Unknown alien technology may be active." Ryan ignored the warning for a moment, captivated by the beauty and mystery of the golden surface. He looked at Myra and nodded. "We will proceed with caution, Myra. Try to decode the symbols. Do not activate anything until we understand it." Myra adjusted her visor and began scanning the surface. Patterns formed connections, like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Hours passed, and the team worked together, cross-checking readings and analyzing the strange metallic surface. Suddenly, one of Myra's fingers accidentally pressed a recessed symbol. The golden doorway shivered. Light poured from the edges, spilling onto the rocks and illuminating the entire valley. The team froze. The hum turned into a low, steady vibration that shook the ground beneath their feet. Ryan stepped back instinctively but kept his gaze fixed on the doorway. Slowly, with a sound like metal stretching, the golden surface parted, revealing a swirling vortex of shimmering light. The sight was breathtaking. Colors unlike any the human eye had seen twisted and danced inside the portal. "Is it a doorway?" Aaron whispered. He could not take his eyes off the moving light. "It must be," Myra said, voice shaking with excitement and fear. "I have never seen anything like it. It could lead to another dimension or another world entirely. This is beyond discovery. This is history." Ryan's mind raced. They had trained for unknown conditions, for dangerous terrains, and for hostile encounters. but nothing had prepared them for a doorway to another world. He looked at each member of the team, reading their expressions. Fear, yes, but also wonder. Every one of them felt the same pull, the same curiosity that had driven humans to leave Earth, to explore space, to claim knowledge that no other species had reached. Prepare the sensors, Ryan ordered. We need full data on whatever lies beyond. We proceed carefully. No one goes in without a plan. This may be the most important discovery in human history. The team set up their instruments, placing scanners and cameras near the swirling portal. Energy readings fluctuated wildly. Myra recorded everything, her mind racing with possibilities. The vortex shimmered like liquid light, and from its depths, strange shapes seemed to move, but no one could tell if they were creatures, shadows, or just tricks of the portal. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the valley, Ryan made his decision. We go in, he said, voice steady. Humans are explorers. This is what we do. Step by step, we go in. Stay alert. Trust each other. One by one, the team entered the golden doorway. The moment Ryan crossed the threshold, the world around him shifted. The valley, the cliff, and the sky disappeared. He felt a pull in every direction, and for a heartbeat, gravity seemed uncertain. Colors swirled around him, and a low hum filled his ears. Then, as suddenly as it began, the motion stopped. Ryan opened his eyes. The team had arrived in a new world. The sky was red, jagged rocks towered above them, and a strange glow came from rivers that seemed to flow with light instead of water. Shadows moved in ways that defied physics. The golden doorway behind them had vanished, leaving only the landscape of this alien underworld. Ryan looked at Myra, who was taking measurements and shaking her head in disbelief. We did it, she said softly. We are the first humans here. This is the underworld of Calera. We are standing in history. Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of discovery. Humans had always reached for the stars, but now they had stepped into a world that would test everything they knew about life, courage, and survival. The journey had only just begun. Ryan stepped cautiously into the strange new world. The ground beneath him felt firm but strange, as if it had a subtle vibration running through it. The rivers of glowing liquid cut through the jagged landscape like molten fire, yet they did not burn. Instead, they cast soft light across the rocks, illuminating every sharp edge and deep crevice. The team followed, scanning their surroundings, their hearts filled with awe and nervous excitement. Myra knelt near one of the glowing rivers and held a sensor over it. The readings were impossible. This is not lava, she said, shaking her head. The energy levels are off the charts. It's like the liquid itself is alive with power. Lieutenant Aaron pointed to a shadow moving among the rocks. Commander, look over there. Something is watching us. The figure was tall and thin, almost transparent, and moved without making a sound. Its shape shifted like smoke, and it seemed curious rather than hostile. Ryan held up his hand to signal caution. Do not provoke it. We are here to observe first. Keep your scanners on everything. As they moved further, the golden doorway they had passed through was nowhere in sight. It was as if it had vanished into the world itself. Ryan felt a chill, but he pushed it aside. They had trained for uncertainty, and this was the greatest uncertainty they had ever faced. Myra studied the patterns on the rocks and the strange river currents. This world responds to us, she said. Every time we step closer, the light shifts, the rivers bend. It's like it knows we are here. Ryan nodded. We have entered an intelligent place. Treat it with respect. Our goal is to learn, not to dominate. The team continued deeper into the underworld. Strange formations rose like towers, twisting into impossible shapes. Some rocks hovered above the ground, defying gravity. Myra scanned them carefully, her eyes wide with fascination. The physics here do not follow any rules we know. We have to be careful. One wrong step, and we could be trapped or worse. Suddenly, a soft hum began to fill the air. It was different from the hum of the golden doorway. This was a sound that came from the world itself, low and steady, vibrating through the ground and the rocks. The team paused, feeling the vibrations in their bones. Even the youngest members were silent, mesmerized. Then, the shadow-like figures appeared again, this time closer. They did not speak, but images formed in the minds of the humans. Shapes, colors, and feelings moved like waves. Myra gasped. They are communicating with us, without words. They are showing us emotions, thoughts. They want to test us, maybe understand us. Ryan nodded, keeping calm. Do not show fear. Stand strong. Observe carefully. We are humans, and we are explorers. Let's show respect and courage. The team moved forward, guided partly by intuition, partly by the shifting patterns of light around them. Each step seemed to make the underworld respond. Rivers glowed brighter, floating stones hovered higher, and strange plants with translucent leaves bent toward the humans. The entire world seemed alive, aware of their presence. As night came to the underworld, though there was no real sun or moon, the colors in the sky deepened. Red became darker, and purples and blues swirled in patterns that made the horizon look like a moving painting. Ryan and Myra paused on a plateau overlooking a vast canyon. Below, the glowing rivers twisted like molten veins through the land. The shadow figures watched silently from the cliffs across the canyon. We need to be careful, Myra said. This place is not just alive. It is testing us. Every action we take may affect it, and it may be observing how we respond. Ryan turned to the team. We are explorers, yes, but also representatives of humanity. Let us show courage, curiosity, and respect. Stick together, stay alert, and do not panic. If we move carefully, we can learn what this world has to teach us. They began their descent into the canyon. The glowing rivers reflected on their suits, bathing the humans in strange light. The shadow beings moved with them, appearing at the edges of the rivers, sometimes close enough that the team could see the flowing forms, then disappearing again. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground. A rock formation above them trembled, and one of the floating stones began to drift downward. Ryan shouted for everyone to move. Myra extended her scanner, and the stone slowed its descent as if the world itself had responded to her signal. That's it, she said, amazed. This world adapts to our presence. It is testing us, but it is not trying to harm us, at least not yet. It is learning about us as we learn about it. The team continued cautiously through the canyon. The landscape grew more bizarre with every step. Towering cliffs bent at impossible angles, rivers looped in spirals, and strange creatures moved among the rocks, neither entirely solid nor entirely invisible. Despite the danger and uncertainty, the team felt a growing sense of purpose. Ryan looked at Myra, who was recording data as quickly as she could. We have to keep moving. This world has secrets, and we are the first humans to walk here. Every observation we make is a gift. Every step is a chance to prove ourselves capable. As they pressed forward, the golden doorway that had brought them here seemed like a distant memory. They had entered the underworld fully, and the world around them was alive with questions and possibilities. Ryan felt a thrill of discovery, knowing that the adventure of humanity in this strange place was only beginning. Ryan and his team moved deeper into the underworld, their senses alert to every sound, every shift of light, and every subtle movement in the strange land. The rivers of glowing liquid snaked between towering rock formations that bent at impossible angles, casting reflections that made the terrain appear even more surreal. The air was thick but breathable, filled with a faint warmth and a low hum that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Myra examined a cluster of translucent plants with broad leaves that shimmered in blues and purples. "These are unlike anything we know," she said, her voice quiet with awe. "Their cells seem to resonate with the energy of the rivers. It is as if the entire ecosystem is connected. The plants, the rocks, the rivers, they all respond to one another." Aaron, still cautious after their earlier encounter with the shadow figures, pointed toward a moving form at the edge of the canyon. "Commander, look. There are more of them." The shadows shifted gracefully, moving without sound or physical contact with the land. Unlike predators, they observed rather than attacked. Their presence was unsettling yet strangely calming. Ryan studied them carefully. "These beings are intelligent. They are not hostile yet, but we must respect their space. Keep your distance and do not make sudden movements. Show them that humans are curious, not dangerous." The team continued along a winding path that descended toward a vast open plain. The ground was covered in black, glass-like stones that reflected the red sky above. In the distance, enormous floating stones drifted slowly through the air, casting moving shadows across the landscape. Myra raised her scanner to measure their energy levels. "They are held aloft by forces we do not fully understand," she said. "Gravity here is inconsistent. The world is alive, and it responds to everything in it." As they moved forward, the shadow figures drew closer, forming shapes that seemed to imitate the humans' movements. It was a strange kind of communication, as if the beings were learning from them and trying to understand them. Myra held up her hand and slowly waved. The nearest shadow responded with a mirror gesture, tilting and bending as though it were a reflection made of living energy. Ryan watched intently. "We are making contact," he said quietly. "Even if we cannot speak their language, they understand us through action and intention. Our behavior matters here." Night, or what resembled night, fell upon the underworld. The red sky darkened into deep maroon, and distant lights flickered along the horizon like stars, though they were not stars. The glowing rivers cast long beams of light that cut across the plain. The shadow figures appeared in clusters, their forms stretching and contracting like living smoke. They moved around the team without threat, circling them in silent observation. Ryan decided to set up a temporary camp to rest and analyze the new environment. "We need to understand where we are and what this world wants from us," he said. "Tonight, we observe. Tomorrow, we explore further." The team set down their portable equipment on the glassy stones. Myra connected scanners to measure energy flows, while Aaron monitored the movements of the shadow figures. Ryan kept watch, feeling a strange mixture of excitement and caution. The underworld was dangerous, yet it held the promise of knowledge beyond anything humans had discovered. Myra approached Ryan with a device in hand. "Commander, the energy patterns here are unique. The rivers, the plants, even the stones seem to react to our presence. I think this world may test us. It may measure our courage, our intelligence, or perhaps our unity." Ryan nodded. Then we must be careful. Humans have faced dangers before, but this place is different. Every choice we make can have consequences. We must work together and show that we can act with respect and understanding. Suddenly, a low vibration ran through the ground. The floating stones shifted closer, creating a pathway across a deep chasm. The shadow figures moved to the edges of the stones, guiding the humans without touching them. It was as if the world itself was creating a challenge, testing their ability to move safely and work as a team. Ryan signaled the team. We cross together. Watch each other. Trust your instincts and trust each other. One by one, the humans stepped onto the floating stones. Myra's heart raced as she measured the energy, noting that the stones responded to their balance and intention. Every movement had to be deliberate. One misstep could have thrown them into the glowing rivers below. Aaron carefully followed, his usual nervousness replaced by determination. When they reached the other side, the team felt a sense of accomplishment. The underworld had tested their skill and coordination, but they had succeeded. Ryan looked around at the vast landscape that stretched beyond the chasm, glowing rivers twisting through jagged cliffs, shadow figures watching silently, and distant mountains floating impossibly in the red sky. This world is alive, Ryan said. It is aware of us, testing us, but also giving us a chance to learn. Humans are explorers, yes, but we are also capable of respect and cooperation. That may be what allows us to survive here. Myra smiled, her excitement shining through. And we have only just begun. There is so much to study, so much to understand. This underworld is not a prison or a trap. It is a challenge and a lesson. We need to be careful, but it may also be a gift. Ryan nodded, looking at the horizon. Then we move forward, together. This world has secrets, and we will uncover them. But we will do it as humans, showing courage, curiosity, and respect. That is our strength. The team settled for the night, resting under the strange red sky while the glowing rivers and shadow figures continued to watch. Each human felt a mixture of awe and anticipation. The underworld was alive, intelligent, and full of mysteries, but they had taken the first steps into a place that would test not just their bodies, but their hearts and minds. The team awoke to a soft red glow that bathed the underworld in a quiet light. The shadow figures were still present, floating above the glowing rivers and across the jagged cliffs. They did not speak, but their presence seemed more focused than the day before. Ryan sensed that the underworld was preparing the humans for something greater, a challenge unlike any physical obstacle they had faced. Myra adjusted her sensors, carefully measuring the energy flowing through the plants, stones, and rivers. The readings suggest this world is aware of our thoughts and actions, she said. It might test us individually, not just as a team. We have to stay alert. Ryan gathered the team. Today, we proceed carefully. Remember, we are humans, but we are also learners. This world wants to see how we respond to challenges. Trust your instincts, support each other, and stay calm. That will guide us. As they moved deeper into the underworld, the terrain shifted dramatically. Jagged cliffs gave way to smooth plains of glowing black stones. Rivers of light formed loops and spirals, creating paths that seemed impossible to cross. The shadow figures hovered nearby, observing silently. The first challenge appeared almost immediately. Each team member saw visions unique to them. Ryan suddenly felt the weight of fear pressing on him. In his vision, the human colonies he had fought to protect were destroyed, and his decisions seemed to have led to failure. He stumbled but caught himself, focusing on the real world around him. Myra faced her own trial. She saw illusions of people she had lost in the past, and the visions tugged at her heart, threatening to paralyze her with sorrow. She breathed deeply, focusing on her training, and slowly took steps forward, ignoring the illusions but learning from the emotions they stirred. Aaron's challenge was different. He saw power and knowledge offered to him, promises that could make him a leader greater than any human had ever been. The temptation to reach for it was strong, but he remembered Ryan's words, "Humans explore not for control, but for understanding." He resisted, choosing teamwork over selfish gain. Each trial was tailored to the individual. The world seemed to probe their minds, testing courage, empathy, and self-control. As the team faced their visions, they noticed that the shadow figures followed them closely, sometimes hovering directly in front, as if offering guidance or observation. Ryan paused and called the team together. "These trials are not meant to break us. They are testing our strengths, our values, and how we respond under pressure. Humans are strong not just because of skill, but because we care for each other. That is what this world wants to see." The trials continued as they moved forward. Rocks shifted unexpectedly, creating obstacles that required cooperation to overcome. One of the floating stones wobbled dangerously above a glowing river. Ryan extended his hand to help Myra balance as she stepped across, and together they stabilized the stone, allowing the others to follow safely. The humans learned quickly that each action mattered. Helping one another, remaining calm under pressure, and respecting the strange world around them allowed them to pass challenges that could have been deadly. They began to understand that the underworld was not hostile. It was a living test, designed to teach and reveal, not to destroy. Hours passed, though time in the underworld felt uncertain. The landscape changed constantly, yet the humans adapted. They grew confident in their ability to navigate the glowing rivers, the floating stones, and the twisting cliffs. Every success reinforced their teamwork and their belief in humanity's resilience. Myra stopped to examine a glowing plant that seemed to pulse with the energy of the land. "This world responds to our cooperation," she said. "It recognizes how we work together. Each trial we overcome strengthens our connection with it." As they approached a deep canyon, the trials intensified. A swirling mist rose from the glowing river, forming shapes that mirrored the humans' deepest fears. Ryan felt the pressure of responsibility as visions of failure and loss appeared. He steadied his breathing, focusing on the real team at his side. Myra's presence reminded him that they were not alone. Together, the humans advanced. The shadow figures floated alongside them, sometimes forming barriers that guided them safely through the mist. Each member learned to rely on the others, understanding that success depended not on individual skill but on unity and trust. Finally, the trials began to lessen. The visions faded, the obstacles became manageable, and the humans reached a plateau overlooking a vast expanse of glowing rivers and floating cliffs. The shadow figures hovered silently, as if acknowledging the humans' endurance and courage. Ryan looked at his team. "We have passed the first true test of this world," he said. "It is not just about strength or knowledge. It is about how we face fear, how we care for each other, and how we act with courage and respect. Humans are capable of greatness, and this world has recognized it." Myra smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the rivers below. "We have only begun to understand. This underworld will continue to challenge us, but we are learning how to meet those challenges. Together, we are strong." Ryan nodded, feeling pride and hope. The underworld was alive, mysterious, and testing them, yet it had also revealed the best of humanity. courage, unity, and respect had carried them through. As they rested on the plateau, the glowing rivers below cast light on their faces, and the shadow figures watched silently, waiting for the next chapter of their journey. Ryan and his team stood on the edge of a vast plateau, looking out over the glowing rivers and floating cliffs that stretched into the horizon. After the trials, they felt stronger, more united, and more aware of the intelligence of the underworld. Yet Ryan knew that the world still held secrets. Somewhere ahead, there was knowledge that had been hidden for centuries, waiting for those capable enough to find it. Myra scanned the area with her instruments. "Commander, the energy patterns are strongest ahead," she said. "It looks like some kind of structure. It could be artificial, or it could be part of the underworld itself. Either way, it seems important." The team moved cautiously, following a winding path that led them toward the source of the energy. The floating stones above shifted slightly to allow passage, as if guiding the humans forward. The shadow figures appeared again, hovering around the perimeter, observing closely but not interfering. Finally, they reached an enormous structure carved into the side of a cliff. It was made of a material that looked like crystal and metal fused together, glowing softly from within. Symbols similar to those on the golden doorway were etched across its surface, pulsing in rhythm with the underworld's energy. Ryan approached the entrance. "This must be the heart of the underworld," he said. "Whatever secrets it holds, it has waited a long time for someone to arrive." Myra examined the doorway carefully. "The symbols are complex, but I can read some of them. They tell a story of countless species who came before us, trying to conquer or exploit this world. Most failed because they sought power, not understanding. This place is a test, but also a teacher. Only those who act with respect and cooperation can survive and learn its truths." Ryan looked at his team. "We have passed the first trials. Now we need to understand what this place is trying to show us. Proceed carefully." They entered the structure, and inside, the air felt warmer and lighter. The walls glowed with energy that seemed to respond to their presence. Murals stretched across the walls, showing images of strange creatures and worlds, all connected by flowing lines of light. Myra realized the murals were more than decoration, they were a record of history. "These murals show every species that tried to enter the underworld," she said. "Many reached this point, but most failed. Only those who showed empathy, courage, and teamwork could continue. Humans are different. We don't seek to control, but to understand. That may be why we are still here." Ryan moved deeper into the chamber. At the center, he found a circular platform surrounded by glowing pillars. The platform pulsed with energy, and when he stepped onto it, the symbols on the walls began to shift and illuminate. Images appeared before them, showing the underworld itself, alive and aware, creating challenges to measure the character of those who entered. Myra stepped forward and touched a glowing panel. "This is incredible," she whispered. "This structure contains knowledge of energy manipulation, interdimensional travel, and advanced technology. But it is more than that. It is teaching us how to live with intelligence, courage, and respect for life. It is a gift, not just power." Aaron looked around in awe. "All those species before us failed because they wanted power," he said. "But humans are succeeding because we value each other, work together, and care for life. That is what makes us different." Ryan nodded. "We must remember that. Knowledge is dangerous if used without understanding. This place is showing us that survival is not enough. To truly succeed, we must act with wisdom and empathy. That is humanity's greatest strength." The shadow figures gathered near the central platform, moving closer but maintaining a respectful distance. For the first time, the humans felt that the beings were acknowledging them, recognizing the courage and unity they had shown. Myra continued to explore the chamber, documenting every detail. "Commander, this knowledge can help humanity reach new heights. But it must be used carefully. This world tests character, not skill alone. If we take these lessons back home, we can change the way humans explore the universe." Ryan placed a hand on the glowing platform, feeling the energy pulse beneath his fingers. "We will take this knowledge, but we will respect its purpose. We will not exploit it. Humans have the potential to grow, to understand, and to rise above mere survival. This underworld has confirmed that." The team spent hours studying the chamber, learning from the murals and the glowing platform. They realized that the underworld was not a prison, trap, or dangerous obstacle. It was a living teacher, waiting for those capable of understanding the importance of courage, cooperation, and empathy. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Ryan looked at his team with pride. "We have learned much today. This world has tested us, guided us, and revealed its hidden truth. We are stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. Humanity has shown that it is ready for challenges beyond our own world." Myra smiled. "And we have only just begun. There is still much to explore, but now we know that the underworld is not just a test. It is a place of learning, a reminder of what humans can achieve when we act with respect and courage." Ryan took a final look at the glowing chamber before leading the team back toward the path that would eventually return them to the golden doorway. The underworld had revealed its hidden truth: survival alone was not enough. Humanity's true power lay in unity, wisdom, and empathy. With that understanding, they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Ryan and his team retraced their steps through the underworld, moving carefully along the winding paths and floating stones. The glow of the rivers lit their way, casting reflections on the jagged cliffs and glassy black plains. The shadow figures followed silently, watching their movements but offering no interference. The humans felt a sense of accomplishment and respect. The underworld had taught them lessons they would carry for a lifetime. Myra examined the energy readings from the glowing rivers and the living plants. "Commander, the energy levels are stabilizing as we leave the inner areas," she said. "It seems the underworld acknowledges that we have learned its lessons. We are ready to return." Ryan nodded. "We have gained knowledge, understanding, and experience. Now it is time to bring what we have learned back to humanity. But we must remain cautious. This place is powerful, and its mysteries are not fully revealed." As they approached the area where the golden doorway had first appeared, a soft hum began to fill the air. The doorway shimmered faintly at first, then slowly emerged from the cliff, glowing brighter as the humans neared. Ryan felt a sense of relief and anticipation. They had passed the trials, learned the hidden truth, and now had the chance to return home. The team gathered near the doorway. Myra checked her equipment one last time. "The portal is stable, Commander. All systems indicate it is ready for transit. We can bring some of the knowledge back safely, but we must leave dangerous artifacts behind. The underworld will not allow misuse." Ryan took a deep breath. "We respect this place. We do not take what we do not understand. Humanity's responsibility is to use knowledge wisely, not recklessly. Let us return home with care and caution." One by one, the humans stepped into the golden doorway. The world around them shifted, the red skies and glowing rivers fading into swirling colors as the portal transported them back to the surface of Calera. When the colors settled, they found themselves standing near the expedition camp. The familiar cliffs and caves greeted them, but the golden doorway was already beginning to fade, its light dimming until it disappeared entirely. Aaron exhaled with relief. "We made it. The doorway is gone. No one else can find it easily. It is a secret, waiting for those ready to face its tests." Myra nodded, scanning the area. "We brought back knowledge, but we also bring lessons. Humanity must understand that courage, unity, and respect are just as important as intelligence or skill. This world has shown us what it means to be capable beyond mere survival." Ryan gathered the team. "We have returned, but our journey is not complete. We must report our findings and ensure that the knowledge we gained is used to inspire growth, cooperation, and exploration. The underworld taught us that power without understanding is dangerous, but wisdom with courage and unity can lead to greatness." The team began documenting their experience. They carefully recorded the locations of the glowing rivers, the floating stones, the shadow figures, and the energy readings. Myra compiled the data from the central chamber of the underworld, describing the murals, the energy patterns, and the advanced knowledge they had discovered. Ryan wrote reports emphasizing the lessons of unity, respect, and courage that the underworld had tested and revealed. News of their discovery spread through the human colonies. Scientists, explorers, and leaders listened with awe as Ryan and Myra described the golden doorway and the underworld beyond it. The story emphasized that humanity had been tested not by physical danger alone, but by challenges that measured character, empathy, and cooperation. People across the colonies felt inspired. The expedition proved that humans could face unknown worlds and emerge wiser and stronger. The underworld had recognized human potential, and humans had shown that they could rise to challenges with courage and unity. Ryan looked out over the horizon of Calera, thinking about the journey. "We did not conquer this world," he said quietly to Myra. "We learned from it. That is what makes us human. Our strength is not in domination, but in our ability to understand, adapt, and work together." Myra smiled. "And that is the lesson we take back. Knowledge is valuable, but wisdom is priceless. The underworld has given us both." As the team prepared to leave Calera and return to their home colonies, Ryan felt a sense of pride and hope. Humanity had proven itself capable of greatness. The golden doorway had tested them, and they had passed. More than that, they had learned that courage, unity, empathy, and respect were the true keys to survival and growth. The story of the golden doorway and the underworld became a symbol of human potential. It reminded explorers and scientists that the universe was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges, but that humans had the ability to rise above fear and uncertainty. They had the power not just to survive, but to learn, grow, and inspire others. As Ryan looked at the stars above Calera, he knew this was only the beginning. Humanity would continue to explore, to face challenges, and to prove its worth in the cosmos. The golden doorway had closed behind them, but its lessons would remain forever. Humanity had seen what it could achieve, and now the universe awaited their courage and wisdom. Years had passed since Ryan and his team returned from the underworld. The golden doorway remained a secret, known only to those who had crossed it. Humanity had changed quietly but deeply. The lessons learned in that strange, glowing realm, courage, unity, respect, and wisdom had spread through the colonies, guiding explorers, scientists, and leaders in their work. Ryan stood on the observation deck of a new exploration ship, looking out at a distant, uncharted planet. Beside him was Myra, still filled with the same curiosity that had driven her in the underworld. The younger crew members watched with admiration, knowing that the humans leading them had faced something extraordinary and returned wiser. "Commander," Myra said, the reports from the research teams on Calera are promising. Humans are beginning to use the lessons we learned there. They are working together more, respecting alien worlds, and exploring with care instead of recklessness. Ryan nodded. That is the legacy of the Golden Doorway. It was not just a portal to another world. It was a test, a teacher, and now a guide. Humanity has learned that knowledge alone is not enough. We must act with courage, empathy, and unity to truly succeed. A young explorer, no older than 16, approached Ryan nervously. Sir, I have heard the stories about the Golden Doorway. Is it true that humans went through it and returned alive? Ryan smiled gently. Yes, it is true. But it is more than survival. The Underworld taught us that courage and teamwork matter as much as skill and knowledge. Those who act with respect and wisdom are capable of great things. That is what you must remember as you explore the universe. The young explorer's eyes shone with excitement. I want to go on a journey like that someday. I want to see the unknown and prove that humans can face it with strength and understanding. That is the spirit that the Underworld revealed, Myra said. It is not just about reaching new worlds. It is about how we act when we get there. Respect life, work together, and never give up. That is humanity's true strength. The ship's sensors detected a faint energy signature from a distant star system. Ryan and Myra exchanged a glance, understanding immediately that new discoveries awaited. Humanity had grown more confident, more capable, and more united. The Golden Doorway had been a test, and humans had passed. Now the universe awaited them, full of mysteries and challenges, and humans were ready. Ryan gathered the crew. We are explorers. We carry knowledge and experience, but we also carry responsibility. Every world we visit, every species we encounter, deserves our respect. That is how humanity leaves a mark not just through technology, but through understanding and courage. The young explorer listened closely, absorbing every word. I understand, sir. We explore not just for ourselves, but for all humanity. We act with wisdom and respect, even in the face of danger. As the ship prepared to depart, Ryan looked back at the stars and imagined the Golden Doorway, hidden somewhere on Calera, waiting for the next humans ready to face its tests. The world had been a teacher, and its lessons were now part of humanity's legacy. Every generation that learned from those lessons grew stronger, braver, and wiser. Myra turned to Ryan. Commander, the Underworld was not just a test of strength or skill. It was a reminder of what humans can achieve when we act together. That is the message we carry forward. Every human we inspire continues the legacy. Ryan nodded. And that is why we explore. Not for conquest, not for power, but to learn, to grow, and to prove that humanity can rise to challenges with courage and understanding. That is the Golden Doorway's gift, and it will guide humanity for generations. The young explorer smiled, imagining future journeys, strange worlds, and unseen challenges. I will remember your words. I will act with courage, unity, and respect, just like those who went before me. I will continue humanity's legacy. As the ship sailed into the unknown, Ryan felt a deep sense of hope. Humans had faced a world that tested them in ways no one else had ever experienced. They had shown courage, empathy, and unity. They had learned lessons that went beyond survival, lessons that would shape the future of human exploration. In the years to come, humanity would continue to discover new worlds, meet new civilizations, and face challenges beyond imagination. but the story of the Golden Doorway and the Underworld would remain a symbol of what humans could achieve when they acted with wisdom, respect, and courage. And somewhere on Calera, the Golden Doorway waited, a silent guardian of knowledge and truth, ready to welcome the next humans brave enough to step through and continue the legacy. Humanity had proven itself capable, and the universe was ready to witness what they could achieve.